In the initial stages of your poultry journey, everything appears to be functioning with absolute perfection. You look at your brooder or your coop, and you see a scene of health and vitality that gives you immense confidence. Your chickens are remarkably active. They are consuming their feed with great appetite, and they seem to be growing at an impressive rate. As a farmer, this is the ideal scenario you strive for. However, this sense of security is often short-lived. Suddenly, as you hit the third week of the production cycle, the environment shifts. Without any obvious warning, your birds start dying. This is a specific phenomenon that plagues many poultry operations, and there is a very precise reason why chickens begin to perish exactly after 3 weeks of life. If you do not take the necessary steps to identify and fix what is happening at this critical stage, you will find yourself trapped in a cycle of failure that repeats in every single flock you attempt to raise. Before we dive deeper into the mechanics of this problem, I want to connect with you. Where are you watching from today? Furthermore, what is the single biggest challenge you are currently facing with your chickens? Whether it is disease, growth rates, or mortality, please drop your experiences in the comments section below. If you are truly serious about raising stronger birds, significantly reducing your losses, and actually turning a consistent profit from your flock, then you need to hit the subscribe button. This channel is specifically built for farmers who are looking for tangible results and proven strategies, not just guesswork and hope. Now let's get to the truth that most people completely miss. The most important thing to understand is that week 3 is not when your problem actually starts. Instead, week 3 is simply when the problem finally shows itself. There is a massive difference between the origin of a problem and its manifestation. By the time you see your birds starting to die, something detrimental has already been building up inside your production system for several days. We need to break this down logically so you can see the invisible process. Your chickens do not just wake up week 1 morning for no reason. There is a biological and environmental process behind every death. In the first few days of a chick's life, they are naturally protected. They carry what is known as temporary immunity or maternal antibodies, which helps them survive the early stresses of moving from the hatchery to your farm. This is the reason why, even when your brooding conditions are not 100% perfect, many of your chicks still seem to do well in the beginning. They are essentially living on borrowed protection. However, that natural protection is not permanent. It begins to fade away as the birds grow. Right around the third week, that maternal immunity drops significantly. At this exact same time, the chicken's own internal immune system is not yet fully developed or ready to take over the heavy lifting. This creates a dangerous immunity gap where your birds are completely exposed to the environment. This immunity gap is where most farmers get it wrong. They fall into a trap of complacency because the birds still look active and healthy on the outside. But on the inside, the bird's physiological systems are under immense pressure. When this internal pressure builds up without any external support from the farmer, a total breakdown starts to occur. Think back to your last flock. Everything likely seemed fine until quite suddenly it wasn't. Many farmers attribute this to bad luck, but it has nothing to do with luck. It is entirely about timing and biology. To make matters worse, this is the same stage where many farmers decide to change their feed from starter to grower. While the idea of transitioning feed is correct and necessary for growth, the execution of this change is often where the most significant damage happens. Most farmers make the mistake of switching the feed instantly. They provide starter feed one day and grower feed the next. This is a fundamental mistake because chickens do not just eat feed. Their entire bodies must adapt to it. Their complex digestive systems become accustomed to the exact nutritional formula of the starter feed. When you change that formula suddenly, you create a massive internal shock to the bird system. As a result of this nutritional shock, some birds will immediately start eating less. Others will struggle to digest the new, heavier grower formula. Some birds will even begin to lose weight, though you might not notice it immediately because it happens internally first. When you combine this digestive shock with a weakening immune system, you have created the perfect conditions for mass losses. But the danger does not stop there. There is something even more dangerous happening in the background of your farm: hidden infections. There are certain types of bacteria and pathogens that do not attack the birds immediately. They are opportunistic. They stay quiet, building their numbers slowly and waiting for the right moment. As long as your birds are strong and their immunity is high, these bacteria do nothing. But the very moment a weakness appears, such as during the week 3 immunity drop or a feed shock, these hidden infections strike. This is why you can see a bird that looks perfectly active today, appears slightly weak tomorrow, and is dead by the next day. It feels sudden to the farmer, but it is not a sudden event. It is the culmination of a silent development that has been happening for days. If you do not control what is happening before week 3 arrives, you will continue to lose birds at that stage, regardless of the quality of your feed, the breed of your birds, or the type of housing system you use. Now let's discuss another mistake that often looks small but causes massive financial losses. Water management. Most farmers simply do not take water seriously enough. They spend all their time and money focusing on the quality of the feed, but they forget that chickens actually drink much more often than they eat. Water is the primary driver of metabolism and health. If your water is dirty, even slightly, you are effectively introducing harmful bacteria into their systems all day long, every single day. Think about the state of your equipment: dirty drinkers, old water that has been sitting too long, and the green slime or biofilm that builds up inside the containers are all major threats. These things might look like small issues during the first 2 weeks when the birds are protected by maternal immunity. However, during week 3, these small issues become lethal because your birds are already facing an immunity drop and feed stress. Adding the pressure of contaminated water causes them to break. When you step back and look at the situation clearly, you can see the perfect storm forming. You have immunity dropping, feed shock increasing, hidden infections rising, and dirty water adding even more bacteria. All of these factors hit your birds at the exact same time. This is not a coincidence. It is a total system failure. Once you understand that this is a predictable system failure, you can stop guessing what went wrong and start taking control of the outcome. The shift that changes everything for a profitable farmer is moving from a reactive mindset to a proactive one. You don't wait for the birds to start dying before you take action. You prepare your birds long before week 3 ever arrives. This is how serious professional farmers operate. They anticipate the biological hurdles and clear them before the birds even reach them. Let's make this practical so you can apply it to your farm immediately. First, you must support the bird's immunity early. Do not wait for signs of weakness. You need to start your intervention well before the 3rd week hits. Simple, natural supports like adding garlic and ginger to the drinking water can be incredibly effective. These natural ingredients help reduce stress and strengthen the bird's internal resistance. Remember, you are not trying to cure a disease at this point. You are trying to prevent a systemic breakdown. Prevention is always significantly cheaper and more effective than trying to treat a dying flock. Most farmers wait until the birds are already gasping or weak before they reach for a solution. At that point, you are already too late. You must act early. Second, you must fix your feed transition protocol. You should never, under any circumstances, switch feed types instantly. Instead, you must mix the starter and grower feed gradually over a period of 3 to 5 days. Start with a high ratio of starter and a small amount of grower, then slowly shift the balance until they are on 100% grower feed. This allows the birds' digestive systems to adjust to the new formula without shock. This keeps their feeding habits stable, reduces internal stress, and prevents the sudden drops in performance that lead to mortality. This one simple change alone can save a huge percentage of your flock. If your birds keep eating normally, they keep growing. If they stop eating due to shock, everything starts going downhill. Control the feeding, and you will control the results. Third, you must take water hygiene seriously. You need to clean the drinkers daily, not sometimes, not when they look dirty, but every single day. You must wash the drinkers thoroughly and change the water to ensure it is fresh. Do not allow any biofilm or slime to build up. Many farmers fail here because they wait until the water looks visibly contaminated. By the time you can see the dirt, the water is already teeming with bacteria. You must stay ahead of the contamination. Fourth, you need to observe your birds properly. This doesn't mean just glancing at them while you pour feed. You must observe them intentionally. Your birds will always give you subtle signs before they completely crash. Look for slight isolation, where a bird stands away from the group. Watch for less movement or a slight reduction in feeding enthusiasm. These are not random occurrences, they are signals. If you catch these signals early, you can intervene and save the bird. Most farmers don't lose birds because they don't care. They lose them because they act too late. In the poultry business, timing is everything. Let's go even deeper, because this is where the truly experienced farmers separate themselves from the beginners. Professional farmers don't just react to problems as they pop up. They understand the specific stages of growth. They know that week 1 is about brooding and warmth. Week 2 is about stabilizing growth. Week 3 is about protecting the internal system. Because they know what is coming in week 3, they prepare in advance. They tighten their hygiene protocols. They stabilize the feeding schedule. They work to reduce environmental stress. And they observe the flock more closely than ever. Because of this preparation, their birds survive the transition much better. Their growth remains consistent, and their overall results improve flock after flock. Consider this scenario. 2 farmers can have the same breed of bird, the same brand of feed, in the same environment. One farmer loses a significant portion of their birds at week 3, while the other farmer loses none. Why? Because one farmer reacts to death, while the other prepares for life. Preparation always wins in this industry. To bring this back to your specific situation, your chickens are not dying suddenly. They are breaking down under a mountain of accumulated pressure. If you remove that pressure by managing immunity, feed and water, you will drastically reduce the deaths. That is what it means to have control. That is how you turn poultry farming from a high-stakes gamble into a predictable, manageable system. Imagine reaching week 3 and having nothing bad happen. No sudden deaths, no drop in performance, just steady, healthy growth. That is entirely possible, but only if you handle this specific stage with the correct protocol. Going forward, do not just raise chickens. You must manage their transitions, control their stress levels, and watch your timing with precision. Once you master the challenges of week 3, you stop reacting to disasters and start running your farm like a professional system. That is the fundamental difference between struggling farmers and profitable ones. You are not just raising birds, you are building a system that produces consistent results. If you get this stage right, the next challenge you will need to solve is maximizing growth speed and feed efficiency. Surviving the 3rd week is the first step, but growing fast and profitably is the real goal of the game. We will break down exactly how to achieve that maximum efficiency in the next video. If this breakdown of the week 3 crisis has changed the way you look at the health of your flock, then you need to join our community. We are digging deep into the management secrets that often go unspoken, uncovering the strategies that help you build a sustainable future in farming. Subscribe to the channel and like this video to ensure you don't miss the next step in your journey. We are here to help you stop the guesswork and start seeing real results. The next treasure of knowledge will be open very soon. Keep growing and keep building your system.